I'm sitting on the floor because I really need to ground, and my mind will never let me, but my body needs to slow down. And I have so much to say, but I usually don't let it come out because I'm trying to allow it to be as profound as what it is that I feel when I'm experiencing it. And the words just fall short. And I'm so grateful to my husband for understanding, or at least dealing. You know that saying about not being too hard to love, not being too difficult to love? That's a really challenging thing to accept or believe when you're a person that struggles chronically with complex post-traumatic stress disorder. I've been being urged by all of the synchronicities, the messengers, my ancestors, my spirit, my source, by my soul, to share my story. And I haven't known where to begin. So as I'm recording, I'm just saying what comes to mind, what feels like the right thing to say. And perhaps there will be a message in the mess. Perhaps there will be some profound thing that gets said that feels like this was it. This was what needed to come out. This is what needed to be shared. This is what needed to be felt. This is what needed to be released, let go of, but seen and witnessed in the process. Because right now, I've been in this liminal space between letting go of who I used to be, wholly identified with my trauma, the victim, the person that, if only these things had been lined up better in my childhood, or if I would have been set up for success, I could now reach that. And this version of me that knows that I always have been capable. Of being the peaceful, joyful, appreciative, awestruck wonder woman that I am. Always in the process of becoming. And it feels like a fucking mess. I feel like a mess. I feel like every 5 minutes I'm getting jolted back and forth between I get it and I've got it and this is something that's achievable, attainable, that I can hold on to, like this is the thing. And then what the fuck is this? Why can't I just stay? And you know, earlier I had the image of the Ouroboros, the snake eating its tail. And it was like, I wasn't meant to be easily digested, easily digestible. Just like the Ouroboros, the snake is only ever eating its tail. There is no full consumption. Like I've never, and I never will, have fully digested all of the profound meaning and possibility and depth of my life experience, because my life hasn't been fully lived yet. And for as long as I'm alive, that will always be the case. I will always be chasing my tail. But that doesn't have to be frantic, and it doesn't have to be in a stagnant circle. It doesn't have to be the same way over and over again. Instead of a flat, stagnant circle, it can be a spiral. And because we live in a universe that is shaped like a toroidal field that constantly is coming back into itself, it's starting from a center point of nothing, and it's emanating outward, either up or down, before it comes back into itself. It's a full range of expression that I get to experience. So I get to choose, and sometimes by default, my experience is chosen for me, but I do get to choose if I'm present, aware, and intentional, if I want to be spiraling up or spiraling down. I get to choose to notice when I'm spiraling down that is an effect or a function of my forgetting, that it's my conscious, aware attention and focus and intention on how am I perceiving what's happening in my life right now. Am I a victim of what's happening to me, or am I an observer that gets to step back and say, oh, I'm feeling like a victim right now. In my personal life, here's my real. I have 2 children, one of which has a lot of special needs. And a lot of those special needs come out in anger and disconnect from communication. And the other is a very small child, so has a lot of needs because he's less than 2 years old, still breastfeeding. So there are so many demands on me from outside of me, on top of being a woman who grew up with complex stress and trauma from an alcoholic dad and an abandoning mother. So all of the things I learned falsely about myself, and my being too sensitive, and my being too much, and my needing to mold and shape myself to be more palatable, to be more digestible, and my current right now of trying to break through that. And again, being in this liminal space where I really have unbecome who I used to be, but I'm not fully formed yet. My new skin, and I'm sick of the cocoon. I'm resenting the cocoon. I'm frustrated with the being stuck in the cocoon. And I'm trying to make meaning out of that while breastfeeding and being pulled in 1,000 directions, while trying to have grace, while trying to have compassion, while being punched and kicked and hit and grabbed on. And everything in my physical body and in my conscious mind that has learned so much is saying, you need and deserve and are worthy of taking a break, walking away. And I'm so grateful for my truth and reality that I do have an amazing husband, co-parent, who loves me and might not understand my struggle, but respects that I need that time. And actually encourages me to take that time, but the trauma still tells me that I need to feel bad for that. That I can't. That I'm being selfish or narcissistic when one of my children needs something or wants something, namely my attention, or for me to play with them. And I'm too stuck in the loop, the circle, the spiral, the downfall. And then I start judging myself on top of it for not yet being better, despite all of the things I know, despite all that I've learned, despite all of the perspective shifting and the mindset adjusting and the therapy and the counseling and the years of looking at myself through different lenses and internal parts work and archetypal understanding. All of that is so beautiful. And I'm so grateful for my ability to experience that at depth. And there are 2 other things happening at the same time. I'm so tired of carved so deeply so that I can feel all of that so deeply. Because what is said is so true about being both a blessing and a curse. I'm so grateful that I can have profound realizations about the freedom of the human experience. Because sometimes I get so tripped up in the feeling of stuck and being bound in the chains of what used to be. So there's this constant process of cycling through enslavement and liberation by my own mind. And it's exhausting. And the only answer, which has a million different solutions attached, is to come back home. It's not to go numb. It's not to escape. It's not to reach for something outside of myself. It's to come back into me. And sometimes that can be so painful. Sometimes that can be so lonely and isolating and infuriating. And it can cause so much resent. But what I'm learning is that this is a challenge worth undertaking. Mine is a perspective worth being witnessed, understood, shared, seen, heard, all of the things. I value my experience even when it's painful. I value the wisdom that I've gleaned through my wounds, even when the wounds hurt really fucking bad.